What a change from a week ago.
I know.
Yeah,
no
yeah,
kidding.
a big difference. You know, last week we were dealing with Matthew, and you guys talked about it earlier, the amount of deaths that have occurred as a result of that storm. It could have been much higher, obviously, if the center was over Florida, but luckily we were spared. I want to let people know that there was one death in Daytona Beach as a result of carbon monoxide poisoning. We always talk about that, and the fact is that they put their generator inside the garage and turned the garage, shut the door, and obviously that carbon monoxide is odorless, colorless, you can't see it, and unfortunately there was one loss of life there as a result of that. So remember, generators outside all the time,
Right.
and sometimes you have to chain them up to trees because sometimes even people will come and steal them when they hear them running outside because people are in desperate need of electricity after a hurricane moves through. So kind of an interesting situation dynamic that plays out after a hurricane moves on through. And a Lakewood Ranch webcam showing a lot of clouds around today, and that's a result of moisture moving in from the Atlantic under an inversion that's set up right over much of the state right now. And currently it's cloudy, 83 degrees. The dew point is at 64. And that humidity at 53%. That's nice. I had to double check that. That's really quite nice right now. Winds out of the northeast at 14. The pressure 30.06. Pretty high, and it's holding steady right now. And the high temperature today, 84 degrees. That's below the average of 86. And 71, though, even though it was warmer than average this morning to start things off, it felt nice out there because of that lower humidity. 94, the record set in 2009. No rainfall to report today, and for the month, we're above average, 1.15 inches above average. And we're slowly getting out of our rainy season, obviously, as we head into the second week of October. It usually ends then. 72 in Jacksonville, 75 in Orlando, 83 in Miami, and 82 degrees in Key West. So pretty cool across the state for that matter. Upper 70s in Arcadia, Wauchula, Avon Park, Sebring, and Lake Placid, and Venice now at 81. Northport, you're at 77 degrees, and Braden at 83. Same at Cortez and Anna Maria Island. As far as the forecast goes for Wednesday, it looks like cloudy skies will be around again. There'll be a little bit more sunshine. High temperatures will warm into the upper 80s. It looks like inland areas near the beaches into the mid 80s there. And as far as the tropics go, guess what? Another major hurricane could be developing. This has been around for a while too. This is Nicole. And it looks as though winds have increased. Look how interesting that eye is now. It looks well defined. The satellite imagery is very symmetrical. It is now moving off to the west-northwest, so it looks rather ominous for Florida and the Carolinas, but it's going to eventually get caught up and carried off to the north and northeast. And unfortunately, it's headed right toward this little dot right there, which is Bermuda. And it looks as though it could be a Category 3 hurricane in the next couple of days. One model is suggesting the wind increase up to 40 miles an hour in 24 hours, so we could see rapid intensification. And looking at that satellite imagery, it looks like it's already starting to do that. The wind's at 80 miles an hour. It's moving to the northwest at 5. The pressure expected to drop, and there it goes. Either way, if it doesn't hit directly in Bermuda, it's going to be to the left of it, and that means the toughest part of the storm will be felt right there in Bermuda as we move through time. It eventually opens up into a low pressure system in the North Atlantic. So one to watch. The next storm up is Otto. That's right. Otto is the next storm up. Looks like Nicole now could put a 3 there instead of a 2. But we've had quite a few storms. Obviously, not a lot of energy with these storms. The most energy, obviously, with Matthew. In fact, if you were to combine all the energy of these storms here and Lisa, Matthew would take up half of that energy for the entire Atlantic basin. Something to be said about how intense that storm was. Well, talking about winter, it's starting to move in over the northern Rockies and into the northern plain states right now. Very warm out ahead of it, though. 82 in St. Louis, Dallas now at 87, Boston a bit cooler now at 56 degrees. For boaters tomorrow, winds will be out of the northeast, anywhere from 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be 2 to 4 feet with a moderate chop. The water temperature now is cooled to 80 degrees. And the high tide upcoming at 10:43 for Sarasota Bay. Another high tide at 9:57. Tomorrow morning, the forecast looks like this. Partly cloudy, comfortable, 68 for a low. Tomorrow, look for a cool start, upper 60s, and then a few sprinkles are possible, mainly inland. No accumulation expected. And then the extended forecast calling for partly cloudy skies and temperatures warming into the upper 80s to mid 80s all the way through Tuesday of next week.